With Irish Show. It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. Ooh, the chat be popping on a Friday. I don't know what got into everybody. I like it. You never know what you're going to get when you log in and like the show's set up and you're like, I wonder, if people are commenting or what's going on. A lot of action on a Friday morning. You love to see it, quite frankly. You love to see it. Welcome in on a Friday, folks. Oh man, I'm getting all messed up. I'm in here. I got Commander saying a lot of positive things about Notre Dame. So I'm wondering what happened to him. And then Andrew Gilmore is presenting some, I think, some fair things to think about on the flip side of the coin here. You scroll through that chat and there's a little bit of like, what could go wrong in what Andrew's saying with some of the recruiting philosophy and then some of the on-field play in 25. Andrew's kind of looking at the coin of what could go wrong here, and I respect that. I mean, I'm a worrier. I've thought of everything Andrew put in here. I've thought about and worried about. And it may end up all being okay. And I could see some scenarios where a couple things kind of go astray on us early. And then you're in for a little bit of a challenge. And so I do think it's fair. I do think it's fair. And so this is the time of year for all this. It's a very healthy chat, like football based, and what could go right, what could go wrong. It's just really, it's interesting. Some of the things Andrew's bringing up is fair. Some of those worries, some of the recruiting stuff that came up in the chat early. I have an answer for one of the quarterback dynamics that Andrew Gilmore's bringing up and has some questions about. I have an answer to why I think the dynamic is how it is with the fans and media, and I don't think Andrew's going to like or accept my answer. But I have one of why things are the way they are. I got an answer. I just don't think he's going to accept it or like it. And you don't have to, but I could explain what the hell's going on pretty straightforward. So anyways, I really like that energy in the chat early, man. It lets me know where you guys are at and kind of where we're starting from here. So thanks for joining on a Friday. A couple things here before we get going. I do think Goolsby and I are going to go live tonight on Patreon. We got to figure out what time. I'll post a link or whatever. Probably our normal time, 7 or 8 o'clock. I'll post a link. We're going to do something fun, maybe get away from football a little bit and kind of escape our minds out of the football realm a little bit, have fun with that. Here's the other thing. Last night, we opened up the community group chats on Patreon. I'm talking about live game threads where we're all going about what's happening, day-to-day Notre Dame stuff. There's a thread for recruiting, news and rumors. There's a thread for the ticket exchange so that our Always Irish group can, buy, sell, swap, trade, parking, tickets for the games. That's where we'll post tailgates and pregame meetups for home games, away games, whatever. And then a general college football thread for everything going on, bigger picture, with anybody else we want to rip in the thread or opposing teams or media or fans. And I got to say, I'm sitting there setting those up and I'm going, I wonder if these are going to take off and will it take a little time to get going or whatever. I had those chats live, not even 1 minute, and people were in there talking Notre Dame football. It's just the most beautiful thing you could ever imagine. So Anybody who's interested in that, if you're already on the Patreon, it's available to you. If you aren't, go there and check it out. It's going to be fun. If there's this kind of energy that we had in those chats in the off season where there isn't nothing going on, I can't wait to see it during a game thread with Goolsby and me in there, everybody going off. So I really appreciate all the engagement already. I mean, I had that thing set up live and I'm like, well, I'm going to chat to myself to test it. And then within 30 seconds, people were in there already mixing it up. So that's all set up. We're adding to the Patreon. We're expanding to the Patreon. We're going to have some announcements coming up about maybe some personalities joining us on Patreon. So we got a lot going on, and I appreciate the support of everybody who's been there already. Appreciate it. Really do. Pistol Pete, $2 holler. What's going on, Pistol? Talked to you the other day, and then I missed your call yesterday. I believe the link for the Patreon is in the description and on the scroll at the bottom. Patreon.com/alwaysirish is where you can find it. Jay Grizz in the house. Appreciate that. Is that what we will do during games moving forward? What we're thinking is, I think me and Mike need to be on that live game in thread, and then we just mix it up with the people, and it's raw emotion right when things happen. We're talking about it, and we're overreacting. So I think it's going to be awesome. So that'll be the plan. And I really like what personality we got. We're figuring things out, but we're growing, we're expanding the operation, and we want to be able to provide you guys everything that we can. That's what we want. So Kent woke up and chose Ohio State violence today. In those group chats is the same as the old biased opinions. Are you guys really talking ND football, pointing out real issues? Which one is it? I don't know, Kent. Give me $20 a month and you'll figure it out. Otherwise, you can just keep trolling here for free, baby. How about that for an answer? If you want to know, go in there and you can drop the real knowledge all you want. Only costs you $20. Oh, that's funny. That's a good one. I think that's a legitimately good answer when you're trolling me on a Friday morning from the Ohio State side. The call-in lines are up, 312-900-8815. Dial it up, tell Uncle Johnny, oh, you've heard and seen. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it, subscribe if you haven't yet. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Notifications on that way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish, at Always Irishing. Emails alwaysirishandy@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it if you don't want to see my stupid face first thing in the morning. God bless you. I don't blame you for that, folks. I really don't blame you for that. Who would want to wake up and see me in the morning, okay? Give me a break. Tex ND. My kid just walked in and said, Dad, guess what? I wipe my own butt. Have to step away from a few. Yeah, Tex, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Go ahead and take care of it. I've been there. I know how that is. Hey, nice effort. Everybody get a participation trophy for at least trying. There you go. Oh, man. Kent probably will go ahead and subscribe just so he can make sure he mixes it up in there. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Oh, man. I was thinking Notre Dame should get an auto bid to the title. Biased. Yeah. There's no bias in here. Hey, listen, we're pro Notre Dame, but over the years, especially getting back to the Kelly era, I find anybody more negative about the team they cover and love than me. I dare you. Go back to the Kelly era and find anybody else that was saying I don't care how good it looks. It ain't going to be good enough to do anything or win big games or not make my hair fall out. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've been pretty fair here. When you got to be negative, I'm plenty negative. And when there's reasons to be positive, I'm plenty positive. I feel like I'm trying to be fair with that. I know some people are going to disagree. There's some things where I'm a Notre Dame homer on, but when it comes to like the on the field product, I'm usually pretty open about where we're not good enough or whatever. John, you have been biased since Coach Freeman took over. I again, you continue to level that claim, and I continue to say, in what way? When things happen that are unacceptable, I say it's unacceptable and it's got to get better and it's got to get corrected. You losing to an NIU and a Marshall and a Stanford every year, not good enough, got to get corrected. I don't know what else you want me to say other than that. When you lose the top recruits out of every single recruiting class, guess what? Not good enough, and you got to figure it out. Again, I don't know how much more accountability you want me to have than when bad things happen. I say it ain't good enough. I don't know what else you want from me. Text ND. So you're telling me we could chat about ND 24/7? My wife's not going to be happy about this, John. Just blame me. Blame me. I'll take it. Put it all on me. Put it all on me. That's fine. It's John's fault. It ain't my fault. So I don't know. And so I don't know, man. Commander, you say that, but it's like I every time something bad's happened, I'm saying Freeman's got to get it corrected. I don't know what else you want as far as accountability goes. So I don't know, man, but you don't have the underlying problem that would never go away of lack of proper effort and not treating people the right way. And so if I don't have those issues as a foundation that everything else is tainted with, it's a lot different of a dynamic. That's how I see it. It's a lot different of a dynamic. The foundation is not built on not trying hard and being bad to people. So we're just starting all this in a very different era. We're just starting in a different place, okay? John wants ND to be OSU junior. If that includes winning championships, sure. If that includes having Lamborghinis as wide receivers and Ferraris out there, then yeah, I guess so. I don't feel that bad saying it. Put gold helmets on the guys and then give me that. Yeah, if that's what you mean, fine. John wishes he was the next Ohio State. You mean that I wish we won the championship and you didn't? Yeah, you're right. I do wish that. Good call. You got me on that one. Walter White style. Got me, right? Oh, man. So I don't know. It's interesting. Notre Dame Fighting Irish brought to you by SI. Read all about it. We already went over at patreon.com/alwaysirish. It's going to be awesome seeing those chats take off. So I don't know. It is what has Freeman done or not done that makes anybody want to be against Freeman as the head coach? I mean, I guess you could blame the lower level losses where you're favored by 78 points and then you lose at home. That's an ongoing problem. The recruiting thing, losing your top guys, is a legitimate problem. That's a problem. And then other than that, I don't know what else you want. The guys winning playoff games. Yeah, quit losing the dumb lower level games. You're winning playoff games. You have some big game credibility skins on the wall there. That's a big step forward. So I don't know. Commander says John has said he thought Freeman was attractive in the past. Are we so insecure with ourselves that I'm not allowed to sit here and say that's a good looking man as Notre Dame's head coach? It's not like I'm secure enough with my own self-being that I have no problem at all saying that's a good-looking man. I'm sorry. I'm not saying I want to date him. I'm not saying I want to have his seventh child. But I'm aware enough of the way of the world to know that's a good-looking man right there. That's a good-looking guy. I don't have any problem saying that. I mean, come on. I'll tell you what nobody was saying. You didn't have this discussion when Charlie Weiss was here. You could avoid that whole discussion. You're not having any of that. You're not having any of that. I agree. I don't like those losses either. But hey, it happens to every university at some point. Yeah, it could happen to all of them except for the one I care about. Right? Like, I understand what you're saying. It ain't going to make me feel any better when you're a 28.5-point favorite at home and you can't get it done against Marshall, the Thundering Herd, and you laid a big turd on that one. How about that? Stanford? That Stanford loss? David Shaw was checked out, didn't even want to be there, and was counting on losing by more than the point spread. It ended up winning. So you know what I mean? I don't know. Northern Illinois. Phil says, Erica calls me Marcus in bed. Phil. I picture both of you guys in bed with full body casts from your vacation. You both got injured. She fell off a cliff and you split your wig doing some fancy zip line, whatever. And I just picture you guys both laying there with full body casts. Oh, man. Recruiting isn't a Freeman problem. It's a Notre Dame problem. Again, yes and no. Bigger picture, kind of looking at where Notre Dame's been at, kind of, yeah. Yeah. Right now, I mean, you're sitting at the number 2 slot. It's super early. I don't know. I don't even know if that matters that much. You're in what, the first week of June or whatever. I don't know if that matters that much to people. I'm much more attracted to that composite 15 4-star composites, 1 3-star composite than I'm interested in where Notre Dame's slotted right now with this early in the cycle or whatever in the summer. We've learned not to get sucked in by that and then burned by that, looking at that. But that ratio, that composite ratio, 15 4-stars, 1 3-star is really interesting to me. And so it's just funny. Like I have some recruiting concerns too that wait to be seen. But man, you can't sit there in June and be like, why do we only have 4 guys committed? What the hell's going on? This is like horrible or whatever. It's not that. So I think there's got to be a realistic middle ground there where you acknowledge the good parts of what's going on in recruiting and then also be honest about areas of need or what you want more of, and always anxious, having that anxiety that you're going to lose your top guys at the last minute. It's happened every class so far, and that's a problem. That's a problem. Kent says, watch every month. Notre Dame recruiting will go from 4 to 14. That's been the history. Like, just because it hurts me and it's coming from an Ohio State guy doesn't mean I'm not going to acknowledge the reality. That's happened for every Notre Dame class as long as these recruiting websites have been available. That's what's happened every single time with Notre Dame. There has not been one year where you get to signing day and Notre Dame's shooting up the board because they're signing these hat flippers on that day or whatever and getting like the 5-star. I don't ever, if I'm wrong, remind me of the year on signing day that Notre Dame goes up and not down. Remind me of the year that happened. Now, some of you are going to say, callers, I'm coming to you. Some of you are going to say, that's just how Notre Dame's built because they're going to have Notre Dame guys that want to get in the class early and be situated. And then on signing day, you have some hat flippers that play games and you don't know how it's going to go, whatever, things like that. And I think that's fair. Yeah, WPP, the year Teo surprised everybody. I was at that game. I forget who it was against. Maybe it was Syracuse. I think it was senior day. They were trying to recruit him and woo him, and it was horrible Indiana, typical like November, just totally gray, freezing rain. It was a nasty day, and they handed out the lays to woo the guy from Hawaii. And I remember me and my dad sitting there like, man, I don't know if this is going to work. We're in Indiana. The weather's crappy as could be. The sun's nowhere to be found. It's gray and cold and windy and sleeting and everything. How's this going to go? And they end up landing Manti Te'o. God told them to do it. I need God to tell more top guys to do it. Let's go. Give them the message. Give them the message from above to come play at Notre Dame. That's what I would like. Andrew says, feels like Joey O'Brien's going to Penn State. Yeah, Joey O'Brien seems like a name that would be a Penn State name or a Notre Dame name, doesn't it? But I've seen a lot of people say they're not feeling that good on O'Brien. And if you want to talk about some recruiting thing to complain about, I'll give you one. I don't like that it feels to me like Notre Dame's loosening the grip on being awesome at tight end every single year. Like, I'll give you that. Doesn't it feel like we're sliding a little bit away of what we got used to, having a absolute baller, automatic catch target, third down target, whatever? You ain't got no Mike Mayer. You ain't got no Cole Kmet. You don't have that right now. So That's something I don't want to see go away. So I don't know. It's whatever. I just don't want to see that go away. I don't want to see that go away. But it's like if you want to nitpick stuff, you can nitpick stuff about who's recruiting what and who should be on this and who's doing that and why aren't we putting pressure on this guy or whatever. I don't know. So let's see how it goes. But some of these things I think are fair. Some of them I think are a stretch. Some of it is, as I mature through this, some of it is wait and see. Some of it's wait and see. And nobody likes that. And I don't like that. But some of this is literally comes down to wait and see what happens. So I don't know. I want to go over some of Notre Dame's big games early in the year here. At Arkansas could be a trap game. Very, very interesting. They are slotted to win 4.5 to 5.5 games. That is their over-under win total for the year. Not a lot of belief in that roster. 4.5 to 5.5 is where I looked up their win total. At the same time, Notre Dame will be coming off a pretty tough gauntlet early in the year, very early in the year. And then you're going to it's a road game in the SEC. And I think it would be foolish to totally overlook that. It's a road game in the SEC. And I think that deserves a little bit of respect. And I think it'd be a mistake to just think you're going to roll the ball in there, whatever. You should win. Notre Dame's favored by a lot. It's on my radar, man. Especially what if that ends up being like an 11 a.m. SEC window early in the day in a road game, something like that. I don't know. But that's interesting. So I don't know. All right, let's get into this. Pete, I'm going to bring you up, let you go on with your day because the other two guys are probably going to have more to say and go over. So like Anders, stick with me, 415 as well. Let's see what Pistol Pete's got going on. Pistol!
Yeah, right.
What's going on, buddy?
Morning, John. Well, today is the day of the trial against University of Michigan, and boy, oh boy. Well, you said before how serious. Well, first of all, to those in the audience who don't know, what does MFBZ stand for?
Michigan Football Brain Disorder. It is real, it is serious, and there is no medication known to treat it.
Okay, you're right. And, well, how can they just keep publicly defending everything? I mean, when there is so much evidence against them. Yeah. That shows you how serious the disease is.
It's really, really tough, Pete. They keep saying nothing to see here, nothing went on, not a big deal, nothing to see. Meanwhile, they're covering their tracks as much as possible, and almost everybody involved in the situation has jumped off the ship except for Sharon Moore. So that includes the president, it includes the head coach, all of those assistants. So it's really just funny, Pete. You're saying there's nothing to see or we didn't do anything wrong, but you were deleting all the evidence and then all the people involved scattered and left. So you're kind of admitting guilt by your actions there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously every team puts somebody on somebody else's sideline wearing video glasses and wearing attire someone different from their school now, don't they?
Yeah. It's Pete, we talked about this the other day. It's really funny that the new president that made a big deal about getting his dream job to be the president in Michigan, that lasted 1 year, and then he left and tried to go to Florida, and even Florida's board said, nope, we're not touching this. It's hard for them to claim nothing. There's nothing to see here when all this is happening.
Oh, man. I mean, too bad you couldn't be the judge in the case these next 2 days.
I need justice. I demand justice. And I told you before, Pete, if they're not going to take the title away, if they do not say all those wins you gained during this time are invalid, if they're not willing to go that far, the next thing I'll settle for is a 4-year bowl ban. It screws an entire 4-year rolling recruiting class where none of them can go to the playoff. then nobody will want to commit there. A lot of guys already there will go to the portal, and then it'll be 10 years by the time they cycle out of this, because you're going to have 4 years of nobody wanting to go there. They can't make the postseason. Guys leave. That'll be about a 10-year penalty. If they're not taking the title away, I want a rolling 4-year recruiting cycle, no postseason ban, and let's see what happens then. I want justice, Pete. I want justice. Call me Judge Judy. I want it.
I mean, we lost. Well, Ohio State had a 1-year bowl ban for tattoos. We lost 2 years of wins because of a tutor or a trainer helping our athletes with papers. They should not get off scot-free.
Yeah, that's Anders says that's lame. I don't care if you think it's lame or not. I don't like those people. And if you look at Anders all about evidence. He presents his arguments with evidence and with research and all this stuff. Go look up the numbers of all the games right until the line where we know they started this, and look at all the numbers that happened after. And there's just no way you could tell me it didn't have a total impact. And the other problem, Pete, is I have a problem with the inconsistency with which the NCAA levies punishment or slaps on the wrist. It drives me absolutely crazy. If they just gave everybody a slap on the wrist for everything, people could adjust to that. But when you nail some people and let other people skate, that really messes with me. Notre Dame has a tutor that helps too much on a report on homework, and suddenly we lose all the wins we had or whatever. North Carolina admits they have fake classes and majors and nothing happens. I don't get it. Like, the inconsistency here drives me crazy. Drives me nuts.
And what Michigan was doing is affecting wins and losses directly of games.
See, that's the other difference, Pete, is there's things off the field, like a bag of money under Granny's porch to get the best running back, a car or whatever to get a recruit. There's people getting their homework done so they're eligible, whatever. That's off the field stuff. This is actually on the field. That's a big difference to me. Anything that's actually on the field, that's a big, big difference, man. Big difference.
Well, you remember after 2020, I think Michigan finished under 500. Harbaugh's job was on the line, and miraculously, they only lose a few games in the next 3 years when he's at the helm.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I don't know what they're going to do, Pete. I doubt they're going to nail them. I just think they're going to weasel around this. They're going to negotiate after this court case or whatever, or hearing or whatever. Negotiate. And here's what I think. I think you're going to end up in a spot where nobody's happy. Meaning, I don't think they're going to get nailed enough to make Michigan haters happy, but they're going to do something enough that it kind of has to admit guilt. And then the Michigan people are going to feel like they had to admit some level of guilt. They're not going to be happy. That would be my guess about this end, somewhere right in the middle where neither side's totally happy. It kind of incriminates Michigan, but it isn't far enough that the Ohio State people and I'm going to be happy. That'd be my guess, right in the middle.
You think the punishment will kind of be like the Houston Astros then, in a way, where it's just basically money and no vacate of wins?
You know what's funny about that, Pete? In a way, I actually admire how clever the Astros were. It wasn't laser vision goggles they used. They banged on a garbage can. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really funny to me that this billion-dollar sports organization cheated by hitting a garbage can. Like, I honestly kind of respect that in a way I don't respect Connor Stallion's laser vision night goggles at these games. It's funny to me that how they cheated this billion-dollar baseball organization by banging a garbage can. It actually kind of, like, I honestly respect the simplicity in a way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just hope they don't let Michigan off easy by not vacating wins or their championship.
We're going to see. Andrew says, yeah, remember when Altuve, he scored the winning run and they were ripping his jersey off and he was like, no, don't do that. He has a little thing in there. If you get shocked once, it's a fastball. You get shocked twice, it's an off-speed pitch. Oh, man. Kent, you need to realize, man, Notre Dame's never been perfect. Notre Dame's not perfect. They just try to be. There's a big difference. This holier than thou Notre Dame thing, I'm the first one to say Notre Dame's made mistakes as an institution. Notre Dame's had football players do the wrong thing. It isn't, and nobody's ever said Notre Dame's perfect. The idea is at least they try to be. And unlike a lot of places, when Notre Dame found out they had something wrong going on, they went and self-reported it and admitted it all. That's the difference in this. They went out of their way to go report it on themselves, not go the Michigan route where everybody from the top down covers everything up and denies everything. That's all I'm saying. Notre Dame's not perfect, but they at least try to hold themselves to some standard and report on themselves when they mess up. That's a big difference.
And Michigan offers a 2-game suspension where they choose the games too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a total joke. It's a joke. And if you really want to, listen, Sharon Moore was right in the middle of all this, deleting all of those incriminating texts between him and Stallions or whatever. I have no idea how that guy's still there. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, and remember also now, too, with this trial, Michigan is a repeat offender, too.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Pete, I don't know how this is going to go, but what I'm saying is I'm not expecting it to be that harsh. I just don't think they're going to do it to him. I want it, but I would be surprised if something came down and I genuinely was like, yeah, that's justice. Like, I would be surprised. So we'll see. Pete,
they should change their fight song name from Hail to the Victors to Fail to the Cheaters.
I like that. I like that a lot. Pete, before I let you go, what do you think about where Notre Dame's at? What do you think about the recruiting 2025? Do you feel pretty good entering the season? What do you think?
I feel good. I mean, I'll feel better once we can get some big name receivers to add to the class.
That would be ideal. Something we need.
Well, and thinking about it, John, only about 86 more days till me and Andrew will be in Hard Rock Stadium for the opener.
86 days. We've crossed the 3-month line here, and we're going to have a good – I'm not going, but we'll have a good Always Irish contingent. We'll have a little tailgate set up, and the flag will be flying, and we'll be representing. So anybody going down to that game – we'll give you information on where the setup's going to be, but there will be a little Always Irish gathering. So anybody going there from the Notre Dame family, look for the flag and you'll have a safe home base.
Andrew has the flag, huh?
Yep. I will. I'll get it to him this summer and he'll have it and he'll drive it there and we'll be all set.
All right.
We'll be good to go, Pete. Hey, thanks for calling, man. Have a good Friday in Notre Dame land, huh?
Yeah, right.
Oh, that is correct. Take it easy, buddy. Take it easy, buddy. Andrew Gilmore, I've been thinking about you a lot lately, seeing all these Happy Gilmore 2 previews, man. I just think of you every time I see the name Gilmore, I start thinking of you. It's hilarious.
That's funny. Yeah, is that real? I never know if it's a spoof or not, but they really coming out with a Happy Gilmore too?
They really are. I believe it's going to be Netflix only. And the idea is a million cameos with people from the original movie that are still alive, and then a bunch of pro golfers from the old days and now. Like, I think it's one of those where it's just like it's one of the things where it's cameo, everywhere you look, there's a cameo or a reference, I don't know, man. It's a part of my childhood. I'm excited to see it just for the nostalgia.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think I spent one summer with my cousin where we watched it practically every day. VHS too. So.
Yeah, the old days, the old VHS. So Andrew, I think you presented some very fair concerns about both, I think, some of the recruiting, and then also you got into, before the show even started, some of what could go wrong with Notre Dame in 25? And are we getting ahead of ourselves for assuming certain things are going to be totally fine and maybe we don't know what we're in for? You want to talk through that a little bit?
Yeah. I'll just be upfront. I'm stirring the pot a little bit, but what I think gets me, and I don't know, it's just my personality maybe, is when people just overdo it. I think like sometimes just the good old fashioned truth is good enough, but then people just really have to overdo it. Like,
is that the society we live in, Andrew? Look at everything is like that, like societal issues, political issues, sports. And then I think the openness of social media allows that to really go to the 10th degree because there's no check on anything. Is that how this all happens? I don't know.
Yeah, I just feel it's just funny because like you'll see a top 10, like ESPN puts out their football power index, and Notre Dame's in the top 10, they're 7th, and people are complaining about that. Then you see these top 10 coaching lists, and like, I mean, amazingly, in his 3rd year, Marcus Freeman is listed like in the top 6 or 7, and people are complaining that there's certain coaches ahead of him.
Yeah.
I just think that Notre Dame, my feeling on Notre Dame in 2025 is they should be a really good team. I think it's a playoff or bust team. But then I have to like hear these Notre Dame analysts talk about how loaded they are, and I'm just like, you know what, I just can't. I can't say that because like I'm a guy who's watched college football my entire life. I've seen what loaded teams look like. Loaded teams look like the 2020 Alabama team where they had 1st round draft picks all over the field. Loaded teams look like Ohio State last year, where their entire defensive line got drafted. They had maybe the most dynamic freshman wide receiver we've ever seen. I mean, it's just like pump the brakes. I think this team is a good team. And they're certainly a top 10 team, which this year, I think being a top 10 team matters more than any other year because of what I don't know if you caught Tim Hyde and Mike Singer's show this week, but they brought up some really good points. They were breaking down Andy Staples' preseason playoff bracket, and like all the major teams, all the teams that are going to be ranked in the top, the top 5, they have lost so much production. It's ridiculous. So like anyone in the top 10, and I'm even like, I would even throw in Illinois, especially with like their returning quarterback, who might be one of the better quarterbacks in the country. Anybody should go into this year feeling like they've got a shot if you're a legitimate top 10 team. Whereas we have not seen that before. Like in the Nick Saban era, there were really 2 or 3 teams that we could circle that say that they have a legitimate chance to win the championship. So I just think just pump the brakes, like this discussion that we have the best linebacker room in the country. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah. Tennessee, for example, has starters transferring because they're so loaded.
You're getting some pushback. Yeah. Your old nemesis, Patrick Cotter. If Andrew's opinion is based on watching football his entire life, don't the people he's criticizing have the exact same credential?
Well, I guess fair enough, but I think that I'm a little bit more astute, or not than necessarily Pat, but than some of the guys in the chat. Because I feel like a lot of times some of the guys in the chat are really knowledgeable about Notre Dame, but they don't watch as much college football as I do, and that's just my opinion.
Do you, Andrew?
I mean, it's just one guy's opinion. Yeah.
I think some of that. I think I get sucked into some of that as well, and I believe some of that dynamic specifically you're referencing has to do with Notre Dame being independent. I think if we were like in the Big Ten, a lot more Notre Dame people would pay more attention to what else is going on, like in a conference that all directly impacts Notre Dame in a major, like intimate way. I've thought about that recently. I wonder, like, if we were in a conference full time, it would be a more well-rounded viewership. But like sometimes I admit I get sucked so much into Notre Dame land. You kind of don't fully see everything else around you all the time. And I wonder if that's part of it. I don't know. It's just a theory.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, look at Kent in the chat. He probably knows a lot about, the other Big Ten teams out there. But yeah, I just love college football. So I watch it, and I just think my whole feeling is don't be like you're a White Sox fan. Remember Hawk Harrelson, the announcer? He was like the biggest
he is
Homer.
One of my
Homer
favorites.
Yeah.
I love that old man because he was so. See, you could be the Homer guy if you're open with it. You get what I mean? Like, I don't like guys that claim they're neutral and they're homers, but claim that they're neutral. I like guys that are homers and say I'm a homer, and he go on, grab some bench.
Yeah, and hey, listen, I appreciate Hawk Harrelson. Watched him even in San Diego because of cable TV. WGN was out there.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you and I both would agree he's not super respected nationally.
Yeah.
At least in his time, it was not like respected to be this, gigantic homer. So like, I don't know if it's just me, like me and my brother are the same way. We try to be objective about stuff. And I just think objectively, I got to push back on some of this stuff that people say. Like, I hear ND, YouTubers and football analysts saying, Notre Dame's got the best linebacker room in the country, or their safety room is incredibly deep. And it's just like, okay, well, or, we've got it covered. We're going to replace, Cross and Mills. Like, I remember that was a huge concern going into spring, and all of a sudden it's just like, you don't even see that listed as a concern anymore. It's like, do you realize what you're losing with Cross and Mills? Those are, they have a combined 71 starts. So it's like, okay, we can be like high on Rubio and Onye, but it just so happens that both those guys have had quitting issues for Notre Dame. I mean, Rubio was the year before, Onye was this year. I mean, I just don't think that that's a shoo-in that those guys. And then you got Heinish's brother is going to be the some big stopper like Riley Mills. I'm a little skeptical of that. So I would just say that. Yeah.
Let me tell you where I'm at with this, especially defensively. Nobody wants to hear this, and it sounds like a big cop-out. I need to see it to believe that it's all going to be fine. I'm a little uncomfortable with everybody just saying the defense is going to be fine, Al Golden, whatever. We got the talent. It's just going to be fine to pick up right where it left off, and you're going to have a top 10 unit, if not better than that. I'm saying whenever you have a big change with some of the personnel and the guy making all the calls, I am hoping it's fine, but that is on my list of wait and see, big question, until I see that it's fine early in the year. It's on my list of like concerns, and I don't like that. I would like to just know what we have and count it as being good enough. I am wait and see on that, and that makes people uncomfortable, and it's kind of sounds like a cop-out because you want your podcaster to make a strong statement for or against. It's on my list of things to wait and see. I hope it's going to be good enough, but I'm not counting it as such till I see it happen.
I mean, I'm the same way. I really think that, I really respect Freeman and his staff for getting a lot of those guys ready. Like, I thought Al Washington really, truly proved himself last year. At one point, we were playing fourth string defensive ends, and they were making plays. I think to a certain extent, Max Bulla has done a good job, but I mean, if you want to talk linebackers, I'm happy to. But I'm just saying, like, you don't like replacing 71 starts up front. That's a tough chore. I don't care if they weren't drafted in the first or second round. Those guys were staple guys, and they begged those guys to come back for a fifth and sixth year. I mean, you can't sugarcoat that. They needed those guys back last year. Then you miss a glue guy like Kaiser. If you listen to Priester or Tim Hyde or anybody, they'll talk about how after the Northern Illinois loss, Kaiser was the leader of the defense. And so you're missing that guy, and he didn't like put up huge stats, but that's true leadership. And then I'm sorry, like after this run of safeties that Notre Dame has had, Xavier Watts might be the best safety in Notre Dame history. Honestly, I'm not talking about NFL success. I'm talking about just in college football success. And you're going to replace him with Luke Talich, and you think that, or potentially the Vautech guy who hasn't played in a year and a half. Like, I just think that you pump the brakes. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but it frustrates me whenever I turn it on. And it's even like guys like Priester who are pretty even-handed are just talking about how loaded they are. And I'm just like, I actually feel for Ash, because like I was a big supporter of the Ash hire. I know what happened at Rutgers wasn't his fault necessarily, but this guy could have a top 30 defense and be the scapegoat of the season. If that were to happen, because Al Golden put together top 10 defenses, and scoring points might be tough, especially early on in the season. With like a freshman quarterback who's leading the way. So I just put that out there.
Andrew, what about this? Pat says, I can get on your argument about being loaded or not. I think it's more about depth. ND over the previous 15 to 20 years has had no depth, and they have depth now. And the proof of that was late in the season last year. What would you say to that take?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and that's sort of my point on Freeman in general, because like I don't know, like I love Mike Singer. He's the only guy I really listen to when it comes to recruiting, but like he makes a comment like that, like Kelly wouldn't have gotten this guy, and I think he maybe said that because like the guy wasn't an academic guy, but in general, if you look at the safety recruiting under Kelly, especially toward the end, I mean, he did a pretty darn good job. I mean, Alohi Gilman, who he got from Navy, then you got Kyle Hamilton, and then X Watts was one of his recruits. So it's just like, I just don't buy that. What I do buy though about the Freeman class is, whereas Freeman toward the back end of Kelly toward the back end of those classes was just taking flyers. Like he took way more of those Gordy type players.
Yeah.
I would say that Freeman is filling out the class a little bit more evenly, but this idea that, Freeman's shopping down a different aisle, I don't want to take up your entire show, but it's just like, if he's really shopping down a different aisle, again, I feel bad throwing this out there. Like, why are we landing Hebert and Grubbs? Why aren't we landing top 5 quarterbacks, especially if what you say is true, that Notre Dame's willing to match NIL offers? It's just like,
This is good. All right. I don't have a clear answer for your direct question about like, why aren't we offering a higher echelon of player in these ongoing classes? I do not have a direct answer for that. I don't know if they're going to say, we know the traits we're looking for, like they've done with some other positions. We believe in a guy and their traits and their frame or whatever. And even if they're not highly rated, we see something in him. I don't know if that's an answer or an excuse or anything anybody's open to hearing. But I do think I have a theory of why you're not seeing this talked about and pushed as much as a negative concern among the fan base and even some of the media. Do you know what the theory is? Here it is. I think everybody's on the edge of their seat thinking the next starter is going to be really, really good. And either way it goes, and you maybe have 2 shots at that. And I think people are thinking, if one of those guys hits, that covers you for multiple years. And I'm going to worry about whatever else is coming down the line a little later. But right now, it's the excitement that one of these guys has a different level of gifts than we've seen at that position lately. And everybody's so excited about that they want to see how that goes first before they worry about the next 2 to 3 years. Because if one of those guys hits, those years are kind of covered. And then you have time to figure it out in between till you need a guy again. So you may not think that's legitimate or whatever, but I think that's some of what's going on.
Yeah, I could see that, but I think that they didn't have that strategy last year. I mean, they went for 5-star Deuce Knight. I think really what's going on with Notre Dame recruiting, I can buy that they really just think Grubbs is underrated or something like that. I'll buy that because they were on Grubbs really early. But I would argue, I mean, they did get Carr. You have to tip your cap to getting Carr because he was a legit prospect, borderline top 5 quarterback. But I would say the rest of Freeman's tenure in terms of recruiting quarterbacks has been more defined by who they didn't get than who they got.
That's tough. Well, like Dante, you had Dante Moore and Deuce. Those are pretty high profile losses.
Yeah. And so they put all their eggs in those basket. I see people saying, hey, wait a minute, you were a big Hebert guy. And I said, yeah, I think that was an amazing fallback option that you were able to get Hebert because I trust Dabo. But don't tell me that was in their plans. And don't tell me he's a 5-star prospect. Like if you're telling me that this guy is flipping the script and he's just getting better talent than Kelly. I listed quarterbacks that Kelly got in his first 5 years, and it's just like they were pretty dynamic. Like Everett Golson, I know he wasn't the most highly touted prospect, but once he got to Notre Dame, it was like, wow, he recruited a heck of an athlete. Then you got guys like Malik Zaire, you got Deshaun Kaiser, Gunnar Keel. I mean, all those guys were big time prospects. So it's just like, don't tell me that Notre Dame didn't get big time at least quarterback prospects before Freeman.
Yeah, and again, Andrew, I've fallen for that Notre Dame recruiting trap so many times. Like, I don't know if I'm maturing or if some people are going to say I'm losing my balls, that I don't want to take a stand. But with this recruiting class right now, I'm also wait and see. Like, I want to see, are you able to maintain that composite 4-star thing as you load up your next handful of guys? I want to see that you don't lose the top ranked guys out of your class at the last minute. Like, so I am wait and see on a lot of these issues. I just think it's the responsible thing to do. I don't know. And maybe that's being wish-washy or a cop-out to say, I'm going to wait and see how good that defense looks, and I'm going to wait and see if you hold on and grow this recruiting thing or if it shrivels away like it's done a bunch of other years.
You know, I actually think this is shaping out to be Freeman's best class. And so, but I think that versus doing what like Texas A&M fans did a few years ago and was like so hyper focused on like landing the number 1 class or landing a top 5 class, I think it's all about how they finish. What are the 2 areas where Notre Dame really has not recruited well under Marcus? Well, I shouldn't say has had some big misses under Marcus Freeman. I would say wide receiver, despite getting Greathouse and Faison, I think that there's a lot of work to do at wide receiver.
That's
so
fair.
You need to finish strong at wide receiver. And then I would say interior defensive line. It's like right now, Al Washington is kicking butt on the edges, and you can see that there's just a lot of good defensive ends on Notre Dame. But I just think that you cannot win the national championship or be a year in, year out national championship contender if you can't dominate the line of scrimmage. And all the best teams I've ever watched, it starts in the middle. And so like I even think about that Ohio State guy last year. That guy was just a load, man. He was intimidating. He's defensive tackle right up the middle. And I just think that's where they got to address. I don't think that they've got scrubs on their team, but I think that you can see this year they had to go to the portal. I think they're going to have to get 2 guys in the portal next year based off of some of the misses they've had in interior defensive line. So finish strong, get some good interior defensive linemen, finish with some wide receivers, and then Joey O'Brien would be the cherry on top. I mean, he's arguably the best player in college or high school football. So if they can finish that out, I mean, who cares where they end up in the composite rankings? Then you've really filled out a real class with some real star players in the future. So
listen, man, I understand where you're coming from, and I agree with some of the concerns. Andrew, I also understand though. In the middle of the summer, you got a bunch of diehard fans of a team. Like it doesn't surprise me that people want to think positively, right? Like you're going into a new year, and I understand it as well. It's just we try and be fair and look at all angles of it, but I get why people want to be positive. And big picture, Notre Dame's trending in a good direction overall, I'd say.
There's no doubt you can be positive, but I like, have you ever met like I'm trying to find a good analogy. It's like act like you've been there before a little bit, and then also like I don't have like we finished second, and then like I get we pushed Ohio State toward the end, but I don't know. I don't think that final score was really indicative of how the game went.
Yeah.
But people are asking.
I'm picturing Kent sitting right by you, and you guys are both typing this in. He's doing his thing, and you're doing your thing. You and Kent on the Ohio State side.
Well, I just feel like, okay, so do you remember in the early 2000s? I think it was 2002, 2003. USC under Pete Carroll. It was his second or third year. Carson Palmer won the Heisman. USC didn't win the national championship that year. They beat Iowa, but the next year, like USC fans were loaded and ready to go because they knew how much loaded talent they had. Or like I think about Alabama in 2000, I think it was 2007. They went to the SEC championship, lost. They even lost to Utah in the bowl game. But then the next year was like, holy crap, they're going to be damn good. It's like ND fans are acting like that, and it's just like I don't know, man. Do we have a Reggie Bush on our team? Do we have a Matt Leinart on our team? I guess we'll find out. But like, I just am skeptical about that. So
yeah, it's Kent. You're trying a little too hard. He says, "What makes Notre Dame look or seem like they're close?" Isn't it like, I don't understand how anybody could argue that if you make it to the championship game and the score of that game is the closest one in many, many years, that doesn't even count as close. Like, I mean, geez, how specific are we getting? If finishing second and having the tightest title game in many years spread wise when it was all over, if that doesn't count as close, what does? Jeez.
I get what you're saying, John, but it was hardly a nail biter. Like, I don't know. And you got to respect Notre Dame's comeback in that game, but I don't know if Ohio State really felt the pressure in that one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm off base here.
I guess, but like, I mean, couldn't you argue if you lost by 14? Being in the championship game alone proves you're kind of close.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, I mean, geez, how many levels of separation are we going to build here? Like, I mean, geez.
I put more stock in beating Penn State the way we did, because like we had no business winning that game. Penn State really outplayed us in a lot of aspects of that game, but that team just did not quit, did not go away, made plays when they needed to, and won that game. I mean, that to me, I put the Penn State win above Georgia or Indiana or maybe really any game of the last 20 years, because that was just ridiculous grit to win that football game. So I mean, I think there's a lot to be excited about. I just think that I feel like we're putting the cart before horse a little bit here. We got to figure out what we have in, and I think it's going to be Carr. So we got to figure out first what we have in Carr. And Swarbrick didn't do Notre Dame any favors by putting our two toughest games at the beginning of the season, because this idea that I mean, Carr almost needs to be as good as like Johnny Manziel or Trevor Lawrence. Like, and what I mean by that is a redshirt freshman or true freshman quarterback, and they come out right away slinging the ball. Like, typically that's not how it goes. I mean, you've seen with top prospects like guys like Drew Aller, Nico. It's like they're good, but you know they've got the training wheels on a little bit. So you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I think. Hey, man, I totally fair. And I think you would be fooling yourself if you didn't think that there was going to be some learning curve there or some rookie mistakes by that quarterback. You just need to hope the other parts of the team can absorb that, so they're not backbreakers, game losers, and that, you know, the defense holds the score down so you don't have to feel all the pressure to put up a 35 or 40 points to beat the first two teams on the schedule or whatever. Like, yeah, man. And I see a lot of ways that could go right. And I could see some stumbling blocks for Notre Dame early. It's all a wait and see. Andrew, really well thought out, fair stuff, man. Well thought out, fair stuff, even if people don't want to hear it.
I'll just end on this, that my goal for the beginning of the year is get through the Boise State week. And if you have one or less one or zero losses, then Notre Dame's in great shape, and it's not only going to make the playoffs, but a national title contender. So that's the goal. Just end Boise with only just one loss or less. So
Yep. Hey, good stuff, Andrew. And everybody's I don't know if you saw any of those chats yet on the boards on Patreon, but your name has already come up a lot. Multiple people are like, I cannot wait for Andrew's dissertation in this thread. So a lot of people are thinking, no pressure, but a lot of people are expecting you to drop some dimes there behind the paywall.
Nice, man. Well, I appreciate it. And I love your stuff. I always tune in Monday night for you and Goolsby. That's my favorite.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Andrew. Have a good weekend, buddy. Take care now.
Thanks.
See ya. Man, he tries to mix it up. All right, I got to do a couple chats and we'll get back to the calls. 419, we haven't talked in almost a year. I want to see what you think. And then a couple of regulars too here. WPP, let's do a couple chats. We'll go back to the phones. $20 holler from the WPP. Had Swarbrick been doing a job in 23, would have quickly investigated in Michigan and cheated against us in the 19 game. If so, he should have sued Michigan, since we ended up in a crap bowl, which cost us money. And hey, Jack's a lawyer, man. He would know all the legal outlets here. Kent saying that we've been saying Notre Dame is close forever. No, what do you mean? Towards the end of the Kelly era, I wasn't saying that. Through the Kelly era, I wasn't saying we're close. I'm saying we're not getting where we need to go And it's the same thing every year. Good enough to beat most of the teams we have more talent than, and in the big games you're going to lose. $2 holler from the Pistol. Thank you, Pistol. How bad will those with Michigan football brain disorder react if they get the hammer? It's a serious disease. It is indeed a serious disease. I'll be surprised if it happens. Tom Chris, $20. It was good seeing you guys at Blue and Gold. You guys are great. Man, just that Southern accent that your family brings, it warms my heart. It warms my heart to hear a Southern accent. It relaxes me. My blood pressure goes down talking to you guys. Tom Chris, what's up, John? Glad to listen to a live show. Keep up the good work. God bless you. Thank you very much. Can't wait to see you guys again. I want to bring this up real quick because I've never seen this name in here before. I've never seen this name in here before, but is it not the most accurate for this chat of all time? Notre Dame hurts my brain. I want them to prove it too, but life is too short to be worried about how they'll perform. My entire life has been built around. My entire miserable existence is built around being worried about how this team's going to perform. Every aspect of my life and career is built on that exact issue of worrying about how this team's going to perform. Notre Dame hurts my brain is probably the most oversimplified but accurate description of this entire project I'm doing. God, that's funny to me. That is really funny to me. Jake Hart, Clayton Bigsby's got that nice Southern accent. How much time you got, buddy? SPF. And then we'll go back to the calls. BK stopped caring for recruiting in Notre Dame once the administration stopped backing him because he didn't kiss butt. You could literally see the drop-off after the 14th season. You're half right, SPF. You are half right. BK definitely did stop caring about recruiting at Notre Dame. And the administration did expect some certain things out of him. But it wasn't because he didn't kiss butt. It's because he refused to get on the private jet and go visit good quarterbacks and go recruit. Like backing him because he didn't kiss butt. They told him a part of the job is to get on that private jet and go all over and collect talent. Not golf while your assistants try and do that all. And then you swing in as the big shot at the end and think you're going to wrap it all up with one of your political speeches to get a donation. It's true, though. They had a big standoff. So you're half right, SPF. They had a big standoff. Kelly wanted certain things of the administration. The administration wanted certain things at Kelly. Neither one was able to budge. So it was like one of those passive-aggressive, toxic relationships where like you're going through the motions, but both people are kind of checked out. But you from the outside, it looks like you're together, but you're kind of checked out and everybody knows it, but you're just kind of operating and it isn't terrible. It's not miserable, but it isn't like hot and heavy and totally healthy either, but like enough that you could kind of live with it for a while. That's exactly what happened here. They had a standoff. And Kelly wanted certain things. They weren't willing to either do it all or do on his timeline. And they expected things Kelly was not willing to do. And one of them was get your ass on that plane and go recruit more. Go. And he wouldn't do it. So they had a standoff. That's what happened. So you're half right on that. 419, it has been almost a year since we talked. What's going on, buddy?
Not too much. How you doing?
Nothing, man. What's going on? It looks like it was like last summer when you called last. What's on your mind? A lot of Notre Dame football's happened.
I know. Every once in a while I get a day off work when you have your podcast, and so I try to call that. So, yeah, it's been about a year.
I appreciate it, man. What are you? Are you on a speakerphone? Talk a little closer. You sound a little distant.
Okay, hold on. Is that better?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. No. A lot of Notre Dame football since then. I was listening. Was it Andrew, the guy who was before?
Yep. Yep.
He's great. He has a lot of good opinions. But I also I'm from the opinion of it's football. It's okay to be a little not nuanced about any of this. You know what I'm saying? we're not talking about the Gaza Strip. We're talking about 20-year-olds smashing their heads together for 6 months of the year. And so, like, I don't know. The team is kind of loaded in a way, like in a Notre Dame way. Is it the 2012 Alabama team? No. I mean, are we Nick Saban's best, most talented team? Are we the 2002 Hurricanes? No, we don't have Ed Harris. Sorry, that's an actor. Ed Reed, Willis McGahee. I think this is like, we look at the offensive line. We're pretty loaded there. I mean, some of it's unproven, but I mean, look, we got there. Obviously, the running backs. CJ Carr. I mean, probably one of our better, supposedly maybe our best pure passer we've had on the team since, I don't know what, Clausen or maybe Kaiser, if you could argue that. But yeah, I mean, I think in the defensive side of the ball, yeah, like missing some starts in the center of the defensive line. But like when you look at the playoffs, like we didn't have Mills for the most important games. We really didn't have Howard Cross at full strength for the most important games. And there's like a lot of depth there. There's a lot of defensive ends that weren't playing most of the year. Who's it? Sevillano, big dude. He's going to be good. And yeah, I know there's some questions to answer at safety, but I don't know. Like 2 years ago, did we think Xavier Watts was Xavier Watts? Like I think guys can fill in the role pretty well, and there's enough good culture that Marcus Freeman has brought in that I think it will actually work out pretty well. I mean, am I kind of off base? But do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's, I don't know, man. I can see it both ways on a lot of this stuff of being like Notre Dame's really, really close and they have more depth than they've had before and they're really, really close. And I could also see some other areas where there's major concern. I see both sides of it. And I think that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, obviously wide receiver, but like we haven't had a good wide receiver bunch since, I mean, it's been a minute. I guess Miles Boykin, Claypool year, not bad, right? But I mean, Greathouse, is it Williams? Cam Williams? Is that the
the Chicago
kid is a freshman sophomore?
Yep,
supposed to be good,
Chicago
right?
Kid.
I
would like to see him out there. I don't even know if he's a part of the mix, and it's like, and I got Goolsby saying for a 5-star athlete, and we don't even hear a word about him. I'm getting nervous about where that's all headed, and I think that's a fair concern from the former captain.
Yeah, it's a fair concern, but again, like, we're fans, right? Like we're allowed to be optimistic in a way that is not objectively unbiased, right? Like we can be kind of silly here. That's okay. And like Jack Kaiser, I know he was like 28 or something. Yeah, we're losing some experience there, but like, I mean, it's college football. Every couple of years you lose a guy with experience, go to the NFL, they graduate. I mean, I would say Drake Bowen's is just as much. I mean, I guess he hasn't proven it yet, but I look at Drake Bowen, like he's basically like Kaiser, maybe even like more athletic, and he's like a dude that's like brings a lot of energy. He's a leader guy. I mean, everybody wants like Kaiser and like Drew White, but it's like, I mean, they're good football players, but how many national championships do we have with Drew White? Or like insert the, smart, not that athletic linebacker that we've had since like 2010, right? I'm okay. With Jalen Sneed, Drake Bowen, give me them all day. I'll take them.
Yeah, man. It's I don't know. Do you feel like this maybe just be a perception of mine? I agree with Pat from the chat earlier. It does feel like Notre Dame's building more quality depth. And it's not like if one of your frontline guys go down, there's a huge drop off and you're just totally dead at a position. I do feel like the overall talent and depth in this roster is getting better. Like the floor of the lowest level of what you got to be athlete wise to be at Notre Dame, I feel is raising. And I do, you had all those injuries and guys stepped in last year. I do feel like the depth overall is getting the floors raising on that depth and the bottom level of talent's taking a notch up. Do you have that frontline star talent to get this from second place to first place? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But
Kent saying,
right.
LOL, what depth? Who? What are you talking about? Dude, we had like 20 guys out injured last year and kept winning. We kept winning. We literally had an injury list of like 17 guys in the 2 deep, and Notre Dame kept winning games. That's the evidence. That's the only evidence I need.
Yeah. Is Kent the like Ohio State guy?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Seems like a nice guy. And look, like I'm an Ohio guy. I grew up in Ohio. I live in Ohio. I grew up in a small farm. Like I get it. Scarlet and Gray. I grew up with it all my life. And I do have a soft spot in my heart for Ohio State. You know, it's kind of cool that you're kind of a middle of nowhere Midwest team and your college football team does kind of kick ass. That's kind of cool. I do hate them, but
you know what?
get
Okay.
the-
All right. I'm going to do this. I was trying to think of something positive to say about Ohio State. Okay. And so here's how far I'm willing to go. What I like about Ohio State is they showed you can win championships in a northern cold climate, which is traditionally hard to recruit to. And every time I have people say nobody wants to play in South Bend because of the weather or whatever, I go, look right down 80 down there. Ohio's got crappier weather than Indiana, and I don't see Ohio State having problems recruiting great athletes. So whenever Notre Dame people
Absolutely.
use that excuse, I say, well, then what about Ohio State? Because they play in crappier weather than we do in Ohio, and they don't have that problem.
You're right. And like Columbus, it's like the third best city in Ohio. So it's not even the best city in Ohio anyways. It's cold. It's kind of crappy. Columbus is sort of like, it's a nice town, but it's also sort of like this big generic Midwest city with not as much character as Cleveland or Cincinnati. Shout out to Cleveland. Oh
God, you know what, dude?
Right.
When I hear that, I don't know. How old are you? What era are you from? How old are you?
I was born in 88.
I don't know if you'll remember this. Now, you mentioned Cleveland. God, the Bone Thugs. They had that song, Cleveland Rocks, Cleveland Rocks.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember it? Right when you said you gave Cleveland some love, I went right back to the Bone Thugs, who by the way, I once shared an elevator with the Bone Thugs in Chicago, and it was very early in the morning, and I was working in a building where there was a hip-hop radio station on the top floor, and we were all in the elevator at like 7 a.m, and I was half asleep, and they were going to do an interview, and it was me with my little nerd book bag, and then all the Bone Thugs in an elevator. It was hilarious to me. That's my story.
No, yeah, I've heard of those guys. But I don't know. I kind of missed out. That's like 80s, right? Early 90s. Not
Yeah,
my, like,
90s
bread and
stuff.
butter.
Yeah.
But like you're right. Like, how does Ohio State like recruit like that? But yeah, they're just. I mean, I don't know. It's a good question. Like, it's not like great weather, but and the thing that was cool about Ohio State, like growing up, was like most of the kids were like Ohio kids. Now I feel like you could probably take like a given Notre Dame roster and find just as many Ohio kids on it. That was kind of the cool thing about Tressel. I was like, okay, he like recruits Ohio. He gets to the small farm Ohio boys, playing offensive line, tight end, and that was always kind of cool. And like now it's like not as much like that. I get it. That's like the landscape of college football. You can recruit nationally. But that was like a cool thing about growing up. It's like, oh yeah, like these are all like, I know that kid. He went to the high school like down the road, right? So it's not quite like that anymore. So, it makes it not as cool to root for Ohio State in like a secret way, but yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. Let's fast forward this now. What do you predict for Notre Dame next year? Do you think they're going to be really, really good? Do you think the new quarterback will just ease right in? Are you expecting some growing pains? Do you have any concerns about the new defense under a new defensive coordinator with Uncle Al gone?
No, I think they're going to be. I don't know. I think they can win every game. Like, there's no reason why they shouldn't go 12-0. CJ Carr will be fine. I don't know if he's going to be Brady Quinn or Jimmy Clausen. Who's the guy? I know I was listening the other day. Like, it was like the older guy who calls it from Chicago.
Yeah, Tom, Chicago's very own.
Yes, but he was trying to explain that like Brady Quinn and Jimmy Clausen aren't like pure passers. It was like some guy from the '60s, and I'm like, dude. Brady Quinn would throw circles around that guy. Everett Grolson would throw circles around that guy. I don't know who he was talking about, like Terry Hanratty or something. I'm like, CJ Carr, he's going to be fine. Like, it's not going to be close. I don't care what quarterback from the 50s, 60s, or 70s.
Terry Hanratty
didn't throw it 30 yards on a rope. I don't know. But,
Johnny Lou Jack had a cannon.
Yes, yeah. Have you watched the highlights of those guys? They can't. No.
God, I love it.
Close.
Oh, I love the old days.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I think this is a good team. There's no reason why they can't go 12-0. I'm excited. I think that's the thing about like the new playoff. I hope we get a little revenge against Ohio State fingers crossed. They won't be as good as they were last year. That's what I said about 2023 when we lost to them. But I don't know. I think that's kind of cool thing about the playoff. You'll kind of run into those guys a little bit more because, like, you know, they're going to make the playoff. So yeah, I mean, I think this can be a good team, and no reason why they shouldn't be there.
Yeah, it's going to be a big year, just like year 3 was a big year for Freeman historically with Notre Dame coaches. At year 3, if they don't have big time success, usually they fizzle away to nothing. And if you do have a good year 3, that's a good kind of glimpse into the future of your Notre Dame tenure. Year 4s, man, it's so important. It's always important. There's never a year any fan of any team's going to be like, well, this year isn't a big year. It's a big year for everybody. It's just the reasons why. And now the reason why is you need to prove that you are a every year contender in this playoff, and you didn't just get lucky one year and then you drop back to 9-3 and miss it. No. You need to show you have staying power as Freeman exits the learning phase of his tenure and starts to get into the meat of what should become the beginning of his prime.
Yeah, and like hopefully, like I think we're so used to Brian Kelly and like not developing quarterbacks ever, other than maybe kind of Ian Book, but those were like kind of like high floor, mostly ceiling guys. Like I'm kind of excited. Okay, let's see like a good quarterback with an actual like supportive coaching staff that will hopefully like get the best out of them. You know, like Kelly, it was like Golson and Kaiser and Wimbush and Chris, like those dudes all became head cases and left. So hopefully, like, okay, we actually have a good coach that can build these dudes up.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a kind of a transition year with the new defensive coordinator and a new quarterback, and it's going to be, if you could get through the early part, you're going to be in great shape. But I could see things being a challenge early as well. Like in my mind, I could see it both ways. Anything else, my friend, on the way out? Thanks for jumping in. It's only been a year.
Yeah, no, I think that was it actually.
Really appreciate it, man. Have a good weekend there in Ohio, and keep representing Notre Dame there, would you?
All right, will do.
Thanks a lot. Give me a call again. Give me a call. Who wants to give me a call? Oh boy. You guys are funny, man. You guys are funny. $10 holler from Happy. Appreciate the time. This guy's a good caller. Andrew, I appreciate. I know. Here's the thing. Even when I disagree with Andrew, or the chat overall disagrees with Andrew, he always presents an angle that has some sort of evidence or theory behind it. And I do respect that. He's not just going to call in with the take off top of his head. Like there's a thought out like angle. And I appreciate that. I do. Taj Murphy, dude, the Bone Thugs I went through a Bone Thugs phase, man. They had some good stuff, man. It was a vibe for a while there. It was a vibe for a while. Look at this. SPF, dude. You cannot go off the information you see on an LSU board about what happened in Notre Dame. John, tell the truth. Y'all didn't back Kelly. He went to the championship proving he's capable of getting to the big game. And then he asked for more help, and they said, hell no, unless you pucker up. Again, you're halfway right. Undefeated season in 2012, went to the championship, lost 787-0, totally undoing all of the credibility gained from 12-0 because you couldn't even be competitive and lose. And let's not forget, instead of prepping for the championship game, Brian Kelly was interviewing for the Eagles job. Okay. So again, you're kind of half right. Like, yeah, you went 12-0 and got to the championship in year 3. But when you lose by 900 points and you're not competitive, you're losing all credibility or dreams that you're close or competitive or whatever. You can't be that non-competitive in a title game and then feel good about it. And the guy was literally interviewing for an NFL job during the run-up of that. That's a bad start. Then they did, if you remember this, Notre Dame fans, they did give Kelly some leeway to get some guys in, and those guys got in real trouble. Not, hey, a tutor did my paper. I'm talking about there was a summer there where you had gun charges and a car pulled over. They did give Kelly leeway after that year, and the guys he brought in got in trouble, and it made us all look bad. So come on, man. Come on, man. So I don't know. It's whatever. It's whatever. I'm all for Dabo winning that first game this year. And then I think it's year 3. You guys have Florida. I believe it's at your place. That'll help. But man, it'd be nice to see him drop those 2. It'd be nice to see him drop. You lost to Alabama. Now, let me see. Where did that go? You lost to Alabama. Name me one team who would have beat Alabama. I'll wait. Whatever. It's fine. Whatever you want to say to feel better about your head, man. I hope he's hitting a small bucket of range balls right now, getting that swing loose, baby. Getting that swing loose. Oh, 415. What's going on? Thanks for waiting.
Johnny boy, not a problem at all. I'm trying to keep up with the chat while I'm listening. It is wow.
Listen,
I don't know how everybody does it, man.
Adam, I want to say this though. For the time of the calendar we're in, I love this chat. Like even the stuff I disagree with or the trolls, it's almost like an in-season energy to some of these chats. And it's June. I love it. So I really do. I love that. I love the energy and people agreeing and disagreeing or whatever. I just like the energy, man. I just like that people care.
No doubt. I love the different takes. I love like the Gilmore's versus, maybe Tex ND or somebody else has like a different take or they agree on certain things. I love hearing the Notre Dame kind of, talk and thought process. It's more this Kent Jackson and Ronald McDonald are just out of control. I mean, my God, it is some of the things I'm like reading it going, that doesn't make any sense. So I'll just put it out there. We did do this with WPP. I'll put it out to Kent. Kent, anytime you want to call in and we can go ahead and have a one-on-one talk about this because some of the stuff you're saying is just ludicrous. You're sitting there saying, who was hurt during our season that would have made a difference? I don't know. Benjamin Morrison? Riley Mills? I mean, you could go down the list. Our entire offensive line. It came down to certain plays in the championship game where we would have taken Ohio State down. And I know perspective is reality, and certain people are going to sit there and think that it just is what it is and that Notre Dame's never going to get over this hump. But the reality is that we were a lot closer than people thought, and we had a lot of players out against a $20+ million payroll.
Yeah, listen, man, there are ways. See, this is the problem with summer, man. You have all the time in the world to play every angle in your mind, and there's no new information. So if you want to spin something negative, you can find things to spin it negative. If you want to spin things positive, you can find ways to spin things positive. Like, that's a part of the challenge of being dead stuck in the middle of the summer, man. Last year's kind of old news. Last year's old news. Spring ball's even old news. You're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel to get excited to go all in on Miami yet. This is where you lose your mind, man. We're in the risk area of losing your mind because there's no new information. And it's all you in your brain, your Notre Dame brain, when you're driving around town, running errands, out with the family. It's all in your Notre Dame brain and how you're perceiving and processing this information. It's really quite the social experiment. It really is. It's a brain battle.
Yeah.
Some of these days I wake up and go, damn, I feel good about where this is all going. And then other days I wake up and go, man, I'm nervous about this new quarterback and the new defense going to Miami and having A&M. This could go sideways on you. I see it both ways.
Yeah, I know. I was feeling really good, and then I started listening to Gilmore. I'm all, dang, okay, well, yeah, all right. No, I hear you. The reality is this, is that there are 3 types of people in this world, right? There's the optimistic people, the pessimistic people, and then the realist people are the ones in the middle. And I think that we all, for the most part, lean more towards either optimistic or pessimistic with a little bit of the mix of the realistic in the middle. And for me, I've always been more optimistic and probably naive to a fault that we even had a chance in 12 when I flew all the way to Miami for that, right? Or flew to Dallas for the Clemson game. It's those are the ones where you get a little bit more naive. And that, been there. Also been there for the, but also have been there for the really good ones as well. And now when you start dissecting this game, even more so on a more finite level, you can start understanding where it was that we were and where it is that we are now. And the fact is this: where we were with Brian Kelly and that entire regime, with Schwarbeck and all the other people, was a very good program. And where Marcus Freeman is right now is a very good program that is leaning towards great because it has a possibility and the probability that it's going to go there. We did not have that capability with Brian Kelly at the helm. We just didn't. He would get us to a certain level and it was stall city every single time. And so with Freeman and where we're going, yes, I'm optimistic, but realistic to the fact of the different things that are holding us back, like maybe the grades and the scholastic side of things in order to get in, and understanding that we're not in sunny LA, but we're in South Bend, Indiana. I get all that. But the reality is this, is that what Freeman has done in his first 3 years is incredible. And when you really dissect it and you look at the ability to overcome and galvanize an entire team of young kids into overcoming the adversity of an NIU loss at home and go all the way to the national championship game and be as close as you were to winning it, that's not a one-off. That is the sign of a program and leadership and the ability for this program to take the next step. So as far as like recruiting goes, and as far as, you know, where it is and why is it that we don't have these 5-star athletes or this or that or whatever, it, like I said months ago, it comes with time, and we have to punch the ticket, John. We have to get in there, and we don't have to just get to the championship. We have to win the damn thing. We have to, because in order for us to start bringing in that and creating that pipeline to the NFL for wide receivers and for 5-star type quarterbacks, we've got to open up this offense. We've got to go downfield, take the chances, and just do it. Just do it. No more excuses, no more talk, no more anything. Just get in there, whoop in Miami's ass all over the field. Go ahead and take care of Texas A&M, and then take care of those games that you know that we should win. Without a shadow of a doubt, take care of them. Go 12-0 or 11-1, get into the playoffs, and just steamroll people and let them know who we are.
Yeah,
it's got to get to that.
See, here's where it's easy sometimes to forget. Time goes by so fast in the world of college football. We quickly went from the Freeman era is a little rocky. You're losing the top recruiting guys. You're losing a game you can't afford to lose every year, and it's embarrassing or whatever. How is this all going to go? Is he going to turn the corner as head coach or whatever? We went from that anxiety and those legitimate questions to now debating whether he's a top 4 coach or if we should be mad he's ranked number 6th or whatever. Like, I do think there has to be an acknowledgement that Notre Dame's risen pretty high up the college football totem pole here in the last year. Can you keep it going? But we went from a year of, is he going to flame out and this goes downhill, to debating whether he's a top 5 active head coach. That alone is some progress that I think we all need to acknowledge here. I think it's easy to get lost in the sauce and lose that. But I just laugh when I see on Twitter people going, I'm offended Notre Dame's coach is number 6th in the top coach rankings or whatever. Like, I actually think that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty darn good too, man. And I'll say, like, I just saw Gilmore talking about, like, he doesn't like the Freeman worship. I get that. And you know what? We have to be, at the same time of being optimistic and, like, getting behind our leader and all that kind of thing, and, you know, doing the rah-rah speeches and all that, you still have to understand the fact that it still has to happen on the field. So to be very clear, I am very much a Freeman guy. From the second that he got announced as the head coach and came walking into that locker room, and the way the kids were around him, and just it was just like, okay, they're going to fight for this dude, no doubt about it. But with that being said, John, it has to transfer onto the field, and it's got to happen. It's got to happen with him, because if it doesn't happen with Freeman, and if for some reason we go years without it, but we were always close, but not never getting it, and then he takes off. It's going to, I'll say that for this fan base, that would be extremely deflating just because of where we were, where we had the potential of going.
Yeah, I totally get that. Andrew Gilmore says, I hear you, but the amount of butt kissing to Freeman gets nauseating. I guess the way to flip that, Andrew, would be Marcus Freeman has won more major games that move the needle in last year alone than the whole program's had in 30 years. If you can't like prop that guy up a little bit, who can you? Like that would be my pushback, Andrew, is no one can deny in 1 year, Marcus Freeman won more major needle-moving national moment games in 1 year than the entire program has had in 3 decades combined. If you can't get behind that guy and pump him up a little bit, who can you? Would you want Frank Leahy to come out of the grave and dust off his old hat and get back at it? Like, if you can't pump up that guy, who can?
Yeah.
I mean,
I completely agree with that.
It doesn't mean he's perfect. It just means, I mean, acknowledge he's won more major games than we've had in 30 years combined. I mean, geez.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I'm talking about it happening on the field and transferring over to the field, and that's exactly right. And this last year was the epitome of that. That showed exactly what it is that we needed. So now is where we have to capitalize on it, right? When you talked about, first and foremost, you were asking us a number of months ago, like, hey, what's the one thing that we needed to make sure that we had to like stay on top of? And I was talking about the momentum, right? Momentum on all levels. And here we are talking about it again. This is a prime example. We have to keep the momentum going into this season and do it with a purpose and show up and not just be this, oh, well, maybe we might not show up for Stanford or not show up for Virginia or whoever it is, but take care of business all the way through. The way that those Clemson and Georgia and Alabama, and I hate to say it, but Ohio State teams have done in the past as well. You go in there, you beat who you're supposed to beat, and then when it comes to the championship level, you rise above the rest. So, yeah, I don't know. I just got a little bit of frustration just reading the comments, and I know it's Ken Jackson, and I understand it's Ronald McDonald, and I get it, but come on, guys, come on. Hey, you got to be just sitting around just drunk at like whatever time it is, wherever you are, just rattling off stupidity. But anytime, Ken, you want to call in, or Ronald, I don't even know if you're allowed to call in, but I'll go one-on-one anytime.
Oh, man. We'll set that up one of these days, man. Hey, thanks for giving me a call. I appreciate it. Have a good California weekend there. I appreciate the input, man. Thank you. And the Patreon participation as well.
Oh, absolutely, my friend. You have a fantastic weekend. I'll talk to you on the next one.
Yep. Have a good one. Take it easy. How much time you got, buddy? Ronald's talking about me talking good about Marcus Freeman. It makes me turn off the show. Ronald, I can assure you of one thing, and it is that I'm not going to ever base any of my content around what would make you like or not like this show. I can promise you that. I can promise you that. Oh, God, that's funny. That is funny. I listen, and here's the other argument. Pat kind of leaned into it a little bit. And I don't know whether I fully agree with this or not, but it is a fair angle to consider. I've seen people say, John, you prop up Freeman's run in the playoff, and you talk about winning more major game, winning more needle-moving big games, whatever you want to call them, national spotlight games. You give him credit for winning more of those in 1 year than Notre Dame's had in 30 years combined. But is that really fair? Because you had the expanded playoffs, so you had more opportunities to win those games that didn't exist when Kelly went 12-0, and then you just land in the title game and you only have one shot to win one game, whatever. I mean, I do understand that argument, but there's also 30 years of big game failures and a post-game failure, postseason big game failures. There's a lot of evidence on like the downside of that, man. What do you get out of downplaying Notre Dame's playoff run? Like, honestly, what do you really get out of downplaying Notre Dame's playoff run? If you're a Notre Dame fan, if you're a fan of another team, I get finding every reason in the world to crap on Notre Dame. But if you're a Notre Dame fan, like, what are you trying to do when you're like downplaying that run? So I don't know, man. I don't know. He was fortunate to get in the playoffs, but he won 3 playoff games. I guess. I mean, it's so I guess it's just I don't know. People saying that what Freeman's doing isn't that impressive. And then it's the same as what Kelly did. I get those messages all the time. Oh, Kelly had the same success in year 3. He did? He did? We lost 900-0 in the championship game while he was interviewing for the Eagles. And Manti Te'o had a fake girlfriend. That's a rough way to go, man. I'm supposed to feel good about it. You lost 900-0 in the title game. The head coach was interviewing for the NFL, and your best player had a made-up girlfriend. And I'm supposed to bow down to that? Whatever, man. Whatever. I just like the engagement. I like the engagement. All right, I got things to do, people to see, and places to go. I'm going to get out of here. Couple more calls. Not going to be able to get to it today. Main man Martinez is one of them. He's out there working like a real man today, not in his basement yelling about football. The man's out there moving weight. He's pushing bricks. He's building concrete. He's making all country work. Not sitting in his basement yelling at a guy named Ronald McDonald and calling it a job. Oh, man. Somebody says, John, you got a little Jordan Peterson, do you? Yeah, if you really think about the concept of existing, if you really think about it, and I don't like being compelled to say what I need to say. Does John put up a picture of Marcus Freeman to motivate his workout? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did. Stop. I got to work on my Jordan Peterson. I don't appreciate the Canadian government dictating to me what I need to say. Anyways, it's John, I love you. Don't ban me. Oh, Ronald. Sometimes I think about it in my brain that I'm 40 years old and I have to sit there for my job and consider what a Ronald McDonald character thinks of like what I'm saying. Like realize the weird existence that I live, that a part of my job is trying to understand what a guy named Ronald McDonald thinks. Oh, that's funny. I've never done a Jordan Peterson impression before. I got to get that. I got to work on that one. It doesn't come as easy to the Coach O. Anybody gets with it, Coach O. It doesn't come in, or the Michael McDonald. You don't know me, but I'm your brother. Those come a lot more natural. Somebody said, do I bring a picture of Marcus Freeman? I'm waiting for you to do the Ben Shapiro. If you don't want people on the internet looking at what you're doing, you need to get ExpressVPN and then do this. And then the whole reason that I have this theory here is go to VPN and then no one will be able to see what you do. Anyways, yeah. You got to get that Shapiro cadence. There's a weird cadence to it that you got to get. You got to. There's a little weird cadence there that I can't always get. John would be a great schizophrenic. Yeah, which one of my personalities is going to show up? If you do feel like you need protection and you don't want the outsiders looking at all of your information and you want to protect your kids' internet usage, you need to get ExpressVPN. Anyways. I don't know. Think about the human brain. And if you think about it philosophically, I got to work on the Peterson. That's not very good. I do an Alex Jones every single day. My whole existence is in Alex Jones. What do you mean do I do an Alex Jones? Whenever I yell and turn purple, it's called the Alex Jones. Are you kidding me? Half of this show has been in Alex Jones, where I just yell and turn purple, and half the time nobody even knows what it's about. All right. I'm out of here. Do a Bill O'Reilly. F it, we'll do it live. That old man's losing his voice, too. He's getting weaker. He's got his own show now, and you can hear it in his voice. It just sounds weaker, man. The old boy's getting old. All right, that's gonna be it. Yeah, the F it will do it live is awesome, just awesome. It's just so awesome. And Angela, good to see you, Rudy. And then I think me and Mike are gonna go live later on Patreon. He did a great Richard Simmons. I don't even remember doing that one. I got to get all dressed up for that one with the short shorts and a headband. And 1, and 2, and 3. I'm telling you what, man, everybody's like soccer mom, was doing that in the living room, and I'm like in like first grade, and he's out there, man. It was a vibe with the outfits and the Michael McDonald's still my favorite. I keep forgetting you can't lose to Northern Illinois. I keep forgetting that was really unfortunate. I keep forgetting. All right, guys, I'm done with this. Mark with glasses can cut it up if he wants to with me doing the Richard Simmons. Whatever you guys want to do with it, it's yours. I'll see you probably tonight on Patreon. God bless you. I love this show. It's so silly sometimes. Thank you.